What's up? Bailey here. And for those who don't know me, I'm a virtual assistant, OBM, and mentor for people who want to start their own virtual assistant business. I left my toxic 9-to-5 3 years ago, and since then have built a business that I'm proud of, that provides me the freedom that I desire, and that pays the bills to boot. And I'm here to show you how you can do it too. Today's topic is a very important one and something that I see way too often in the virtual assistant world. And everywhere, really. Online scams in many forms have become a very popular and dangerous way that people can make money, and it's important that you don't fall into that trap. If you're just starting out in your business, I've been where you are, and I know how badly you want clients and to prove yourself and to start building your business, but at no time should you compromise your integrity or your identity for a job. Scammers prey on newer virtual assistants because they know that they don't have the experience to catch the red flags, or if they do, they're more likely to ignore them. Falling prey to a scam happens to the best of us. That has even happened to me. Well, almost. Very early on in my virtual assistant career, I was approached by a company that said they were interested in me and in my skills, and they wanted to know more. Excited as ever, I sent them over many paragraphs about my experience and what I could do for them in their business. And to my surprise, they hired me on the spot. At first, I was so excited that it took me a little while to realize that I hadn't actually had an interview, and some of the important points hadn't been discussed. I was only 1 week into my virtual assistant career, and I'd already signed a client. Yeah, baby! After my initial excitement had died down, I did a bit more research into the company, and a few things weren't adding up. Their website didn't exist, and all contact information I could find was overseas. Not in the US like they'd said on their business page. It wasn't until they asked me to send them a check for some supplies that I needed that I realized I'd almost been scammed. Let me tell you, that was a horrible feeling and moment, especially as I was just starting out. The roller coaster of emotions that you'll feel and the foolishness for almost falling for it is completely normal, and I urge you not to beat yourself up about it. We are all human, and chances are you're going to encounter a scam more than once in your virtual assistant journey. What this video is here to do is to showcase to you some of the red flags and how to avoid getting scammed. In my story above, I'm sure you might be able to pick out a few of the key red flags that were brought up, but we're going to dive a bit more into detail about them. Let's start with hiring without an interview. This is a major red flag and something I don't recommend you do ever, even if it's with someone you know. Always make sure to hop on some sort of call, whether it be voice or video, to get to know your potential client and to have a proper conversation. If they avoid getting on a call with you, consistently cancel, and don't sound like who they say they are, get out of there fast. Next, if they ask you to pay any amount of money to work with them. This is a red flag for obvious reasons, and you should never have to pay someone to work with them. In fact, it should be the other way around, and they should be asking how to pay you. On top of that, if they're asking you to pay in Bitcoin or another form of currency, this is also a sign that you should run the other way and fast. While we're on the topic of money, if they're also willing to pay you much more than your going rate, that could be another sign of trouble in the air. While to you it might sound amazing and you're excited at the possibility, it could also be a way for them to get work for free without actually paying you. It's equally as important to protect your personal information, and if they're asking you for personal information like your SIN or banking information right off the bat, it could be a sign of trouble. I will say that you do have to fill out forms when you're a contractor in the United States and Canada, but those forms only have to be filled out prior to tax time. And in order to protect your information, if some red flags are coming up, you can hold off providing this information until they've confirmed that they're at least a legitimate client. Another thing that will help protect you from virtual assistant scams is to hit that like button for the YouTube algorithm. Okay, so that's not entirely true. It won't protect you from scams, but if you find this video helpful and my tips do help prevent you from getting scammed, I'd say it's worth a like, don't you? A few other red flags are when a scammer showcases that they're interested in you without showcasing a job posting or information about the position that you would be perfect for. If they're being pushy about getting you to start sooner rather than later, and if they refuse to sign your contract or an agreement. Scammers are increasingly more intelligent and their scams get more and more sophisticated all the time. These are just a few of the red flags to look out for, but it's not just about watching for red flags, but also putting things in place in your business to help scare off those scammers. Number 1, make sure you have a contract. If you have a legally binding document, it could detract the scammers from wanting to put their name, even if it's fake, on the document, as it can leave a paper trail. 2, always do your research on the business. Take a look for social media accounts, websites, business reviews, etc. If they have all of these things, make sure that their addresses and contact information checks out between all of them and that the information they've told you is accurate. Number 3, always have a conversation. I know that I've mentioned this before, but it's so important it is worth mentioning twice. Always have some sort of conversation with the person and not just over a keyboard. Make sure you talk back and forth and you get to know them a little bit to see their character. Number 4, have processes in place for potential clients. Scammers don't normally want to put a lot of effort into scamming someone and just want to work fast so they can continue to scam more people. If you have processes of things that a client must do to work with you, it will deter lazy scammers from trying to get your hard-earned cash. Number 5, trust your gut. This is actually the most important tip, which is why I saved the best for last. Trust your gut because it knows so much more than you realize. In my experience, owning a business is about trusting your gut about 95% of the time. It won't steer you wrong. And if you think it's a scam, it likely is. If you implement these tips above, I'm confident that you'll go about your virtual assistant journey relatively scam-free. If you find yourself in a questionable situation, don't be afraid to lean on others for support. And that includes me. I'm always happy to take a look at a potential red flag client and assess to make sure that it's a legitimate opportunity. I'd also like to know, have you fallen victim to a scam? If so, what did you learn from it? If you enjoyed this video, then please hit the subscribe button below, smash that like button, and don't forget about the notification bell, which allows you to be the first to know when I post a new video.